to introduce now Tanya Tum, who is the creator of Succenergy methodology, a framework that strengthens human potential and business growth. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us today, Tanya.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really privileged to be with you so much. Thank you, Santosh. I have been working with Santosh and the whole team more than 7 years now, I think 6 or 7 years. And today I have the privilege to share a little bit of the Succenergy. I have been working in many different countries worldwide, delivering leadership trainings, exactly because everything surrounds ourselves by people. Okay, so the first question that we could ask ourselves is, what is the best or comparative advantage of this 21 center? Maybe 20 years ago, we would say capital. 10 years ago, technology. Now, all of us will say artificial intelligence. But I will go back to the people, because everything starts with people, inspiring people, transforming, igniting the human energy. So today I will be talking about the human-centered leadership and how this is important not only for individuals, but for companies. I am American Business Award Church member. I am the CEO of Eokaya. As I said, I have been working with many different clients and organizations worldwide. Today, I want to say also that beside being here and making this a dialogue, if you want to ask questions, you could ask me. If you want to resonate with anything that you feel that is good, we can do it. So the world have been changing these last years, and it's amazing to see the work of Annamoline just starting this conversation, because we are talking about hackathon, right? And we are talking about hackathon, and we are talking about how important is developing skills that could leverage the globalization, that could leverage the internet, that could bring us best ways to optimize decisions, best ways to accelerate process, and even finance ideas. But when we think about the future, we think about the sustainable growth. And that means organizing our ideas with technology, strategy, capital, innovation, but people with purpose. That's why I bring today's Succenergy concept, and we'll start from how you activate your energy and unlock your success. I truly believe that all of us, we have success within, and these are principles that could leverage our development that will lead to success. The 7 Ps of Succenergy: purpose, passion, plan, practices, persistent, progress, and perfection. And maybe because we don't have much time, I will just go through these principles very quickly to go to the framework of organization. But everything starts with people. So that means everything starts with personal development, aligning your purpose. You need to understand and be conscious about your purpose. You need to love your purpose. That means passion for your purpose, in the way of thinking about your purpose, understanding that you need to leverage your energy through your purpose, and then organize your ideas and strategies to go to action. And then we go to praxis. Praxis is action, but it's an action with ethic, action with conduct. And I think that most of the best ways to think about success people or about leaders is to understand that they do action with purpose and action with ethic and action to leverage our humanity and contribute to the communities. And then, of course, we need consistency to start, but we need to persistence to reach the end. And then we go to progress and then perfection. That means, in fact, that comes from a Latin word, perfetto, that means implementation. Finish what you start. It's not about being or achieve more than excellency, but it's about carry on learning by doing process until you achieve the best you can. But while this process is coming to the end, you need to finish what you start. So that is the real meaning of perfection at the beginning, at the genesis of the word. So if we start understanding that we need to start with people, then we have here the success framework for organizations. And then starts again with purpose, because you need the purpose of your organizations. You need to understand your goals and objectives of your organization. Then you go to the people, because the people is in the core of your business. And I don't think that we can leverage and automate decisions with technology, innovation, and artificial intelligence. But indeed, we can substitute people. We can't automate human energy. We can automate purpose. We can automate dreams. We can automate, and this is the way that I can say that everything is really in the center of the people. How can you manage the people? People are the center of and the core and the heart of organization. Then, of course, you have plans, and then you have this beautiful word that I did create as Succenergy word. I did create also, that's a combination of success and energy, because I truly believe that success comes from the way that you manage efficiently your energy. Okay, we will go to the energy, but for now I will talk about praxis. There is a combination of praxis. Praxis means action, okay? Action, but with ethic and with conduct. Action with meritocracy, okay? Then process and praxis combines that to this word that's praxis, that means you leverage your strategy, taking actions, but good actions, positive actions with ethic and conduct, in order to achieve the goals and objectives of your organization. Of course, we can't work alone on this process. So you need to understand that partnerships are really important. Partnerships with your colleagues, partnerships with all the stakeholders that are really important in this process. Sometimes you need to see benchmarking and see other companies that sometimes you see them as competitors, but they could be your partners and could leverage the results of your business. But also we see this as an ecosystem, so you are not alone in the process. You have your collaborators, your staff, your team, but also you have the government, also you have the community, the society. How can you leverage your social responsibilities in the terms of creating more impact? How can you bring more ambassadors, media people, to know about your business? Partnerships is essential if you want progress. And about progress, I would love to say that it's really important, even as an organization, to celebrate your micro wins, because every time we are in the market, we'll be face setbacks, challenges, and this is really important and part of the process of growing. I have a quote, that the worst or the biggest the challenge, the better the flights. And I truly believe that is like an aeroplane. We need to face this velocity, understanding that we need to fight with the gravity to take off. And this is important, that will lead to performance. In personal development is perfection, is like finish what you start. In organizations is performance, is results, is profits, is impacting. And as I said, we go to the process. That is praxis is as this a beautiful combination of understanding the structure, clarity, systems, and then take action with execution and discipline. And we go back to that framework into actions, right? Principles to performance, because everything in the center is the people. Even we think about hackathon, artificial intelligence, everything is made now by people. Every time is people in the center. And I think that the challenge for us in the next 20, 30, 15 years is to understand that we'll not be able to automate new purpose, love, humanity. And that means that today we need to think about artificial intelligence, but we need to protect the nature intelligence and see Even artificial intelligence comes from the nature. Everything that we do as a computers is doing an analogy with how our brain systems works. So everything starts with a human being, and this is something that we can't lose in this process of constructing new ideas, leverage technology and innovation. We need to understand that we also have to fight to maintain the humanity alive, to maintain the human being alive, to maintain principles and values to become sustainable. Otherwise, we will bring things to the table that will destroy everything that is in the nature, and we still in the nature, and we need to maintain the nature and leverage and take advantage of technology, so we can't lose our ability to understand that. And because we are talking about people, because we are talking about company, we will go back to understand that leadership is really important. That's why leadership in practice, human development, learning culture, inclusive leadership, strategical partnerships, innovation, and operational excellence. Because we are talking about now about entrepreneurship, about trading, about how can we leverage our comparative advantage, how can we be competitive. So we need to invest in all these things that are really important in the process. Then I can say to you, the future belongs to the human centers organizations. They will combine everything. They will combine artificial intelligence, human intelligence, emotional intelligence, conscious leadership, and Succenergy connects all four. Because we are going back, if we are talking about the framework of companies, a frame of organizations, we go back to the life balance and understand that everyone has stakeholders and everyone needs to do this life balance. If you are talking about people, we need to go to the individuals that work in our organization. They are the core. Of course, I will not go deep about the components of emotional intelligence, but I'm going directly to building resilience. Because if we see people, we need to invest in leadership skills. But every time we think about the leadership of us, the leadership of the people, you need to understand that each leadership comes within the people and the person. So leadership starts with you. So first, you need to lead yourself before you lead other people, before you lead other team. And sometimes that is the thing that is missing to many different people in the organizations. Succenergy, activate your energy and discover your success within you. I said in the beginning, I truly believe that all of us, we have already success within. We need to activate that success. And to do that, we need to understand how can we use our energy efficiently. And you see, for now, I can just bring examples, practical examples of what is that. See a computer or see a cell phone. What happens when the cell phone or the computer is not recharged? Switch off. Switch off. And that means what? This, you can make analogy with people. We have energy. When we don't manage wisely our energy, we became with depression, we became with burnout, we became with lots of problems. Of course, organization itself will be affected with that. So these two components of maybe three: the leadership, the knowledge, the emotional intelligence, and then building resilience will be the core and the essence of how can you create a group and family excellence in your organization. And then this leads me to this example, because even organizations, you have the small ones, and we are talking, I have been a judge in many different competitions, even hackathons in Uganda, in Rwanda, in Nigeria. I have been working with many different organizations as a judge, also as a mentor. And one of the things that I articulate, I said always, capital is important, technology is important, but you need to understand that the human energy and your believing system, your resilience, or your soft skills, let me say, your soft skills are the ones that you need to carry on, even to creating ideas and then develop your ideas. You need to understand that you have to be consistent. And to be consistent, you need to go to your believing system and to train yourself these amazing muscles, the motivation muscle, the resilience muscle, everything that you could leverage yourself to continue to fight until you win. And many people lose the focus on that. And every time I put on the table that I will give you and train you for your hard skills, how can you create your business? How can you develop your business? How can you explore to have better results? How can you optimize through technology? How can you optimize your decisions through artificial intelligence? I will always say, I need you to understand that you need to develop your soft skills in order to maintain your energy until you win, until you get results, until you have profits, until you impact your community. And this example of people that have so many different difficulties in their lives, but they still working because they have the energy and they don't have excuses. Everything is within, and then we have to do ourselves the best. I bring myself here because my success energy did comes from a hard situation of not have opportunity to live with my mother since I was 4 years. And then that I start talking to myself. I start talking to my energy. I start understanding myself. I start to understanding my thoughts. The clarity of my thoughts will lead to my results. If I have bad thoughts leads to negative actions leads to negative results, and then I will fail. So everything is an exercise of how do you manage your energy, how do you manage your thoughts, how do you manage your feelings, how do you manage your time. So this begins here, and I'm really privileged to say that this girl from Mozambican country became the first Lusophone to be the committee chair of the Global and Women Business Award in the world, held in New York. And people will say, how can, Tanya, how can your language is Portuguese, your native language is Portuguese, how can you now delivering leadership trainings in more than 22 countries? How can you have now, even without intelligence, at least so more than 8 books, and most of them are being studied in different universities in United States, in Brazil, and I'm really privileged to have that. How can? Because I believe in myself. My believing system is my energy to take action, my energy to overcome, my energy to make transformation. And I can tell you that when we ask ourselves, how can you activate our energy? We go again to the example of how a computer works, because as I said, a computer is a copy, a best copy of our brains, our brain system. Even now, we don't know exactly how efficient is our mindset, our minds, our brains, but I can tell you everything that is in on artificial intelligence comes from our nature, comes from our intelligence, our nature intelligence. And then we go to our natural intelligence, detox your mind, because we have many different thoughts that are negative that will, as I said, lead to negative results. Reset and reprogram. I'm talking about ourselves. I'm talking about our energy, right? But I'm creating analogy with a computer, because now is the best way to understand how our brains works. Yes, a computer is a clearly copy of our energy, of our brain, of our abilities to transform. Then you have to train your motivation. But even to train your motivation, if you don't stop envy, if you don't stop complaining, if you don't stop, because these are kind of negative things that you need to understand that you have to put on the garbage. Why? Because if you don't do that, they will waste your energy. And if you have 100% energy to leverage ourselves to go to our results, you need to understand that if you waste your energy in the things that you don't want and the things that you don't control, you will become with only 20% to work in your purpose, to work in your dreams, to work in your company, to work in any sphere that you feel that is really important in that process. And then before I go back to this, in fact, this amazing banner, bringing up many different things that you need to leverage, not only as identity or as an individual or as a person, but also as an organization. If you are talking about how can I export, how can I become a brand in different countries, as an organization, as a person, you need to understand that these are the things that you need to work on it. Build your personal brand, invest in your personal development, time management, energy management, practice gratitude, finance management, building relationships that matter, reward yourself, because network is your net worth. And we have been coming with many different organizations. Today we see how networks is really important to grow, and we had the example of Anna Malin with the book. Everything comes to that network and is really important. And I want to bring back the Succenergy battery. I really believe on this, and I really believe that the way that we need to empower, and today this book is almost working also in schools, because soft skills are really important in part of this process to carry on, to build a business, but also to look to the problems as opportunities, and also look to the problems and work to create solutions for them. And this is the spirit to engage in any hackathon, in any competition, in any community, in any society, to build much better nations for us. And what is your battery? And then I think this is very clear. If you have a bad cell, you have envy, you have complaint, you have victimization, you have inertia. That means your purpose will be very, very few. And if you don't work in your purpose, you will not have the way to manage the passion, the planning, the practice, the persistence, the progress until you go to the end. And let me say the same way, because I love artificial intelligence. I love many different instruments now, and I'm going to I will be releasing as well very soon my book. It's a novel, Robert Loving, the poem that dwells in still. Yeah, this is the conversation. We have to use technology and artificial intelligence to optimize decisions, to accelerate process, but we need to understand that we have to do this combination of different instruments that are really important to grow, but never forgot the people, never forgot the human energy, because technology can't automate feelings, can't automate love, can't automate the human energy, and can automate purpose. So everything will depend on people. So we have to stay connected with that principle, carry on investing in people, carry on investing in leadership, carry on understanding that if we want to accelerate and optimize work and leverage the results, because we are using technology, remember, the human resource is the one in the center of everything. And organizing the best way and efficiently your energy will be the motto to get innovators, will be the motto to bring all of us together. Succenergy, activate your energy and discover all your success inside you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a fantastic story. And I think I'm going to add something else to that. It's about positivity. And you've brought so much positivity to our talk today. You're talking about human centered organizations, but I think it's more about the energy you're able to bring as a person to the table as well. And thank you so much, Tanya. I think you brought in so much positive energy today that I think we're good to go for the rest of the week now. Thank you for your time.
Gratitude.
I'd now like